I sat in those rooms for years before any of it stuck. I had the language, I had the steps memorized, I could quote the book, and I still kept going back to prison. Not because the program didn't work, because I wasn't doing it. I was knowing it, there's a difference, and nobody told me what that difference was costing me. If you've ever been around recovery and wondered why some people get it and some people don't, this is what I want to talk about today. Because for years, I was the guy who looked like he was getting it. I went to meetings, I had a sponsor, I read the literature, I knew exactly what to say when I raised my hand. But I was cherry picking. I did the parts I liked, I skipped the parts that scared me. And every single time, the same thing happened. I'd put together some clean time, I'd start to feel okay, and then I'd stop doing the things that got me there. The truth I didn't want to admit was this: I wasn't trying to recover, I was trying to manage my using. I wanted to feel a little better without having to change. And the program doesn't work that way. Source doesn't work that way. The law of attraction doesn't work that way. You can't half align your life and expect the whole result. The first time I heard about the steps, I was 19, sitting in state prison. That's where I first started seeking. That's where I started praying. That's where I started reading books that opened me up to something bigger than me. When I got out, the counselor told me, go to a meeting today. That was February 4th, 1991. That was my first 12-step meeting. I stayed sober for about 90 days that round, long enough to learn the program, long enough to get hopeful. But I wasn't ready yet. Because being around recovery is not the same thing as doing recovery. I went back out, back to using, and back to prison. Every time I came home, I went straight back to meetings. Every single time. I had the gift of desperation. I just didn't have the willingness yet. Here's what willingness actually is: it's not a feeling, it's not motivation, it's not deciding once and then coasting. Willingness is doing what you don't want to do when you don't want to do it because you finally trust that the people who got what you want are telling you the truth. That's the gap I lived in for years, the gap between knowing what to do and actually doing it. And while I was in the gap, I was attracting exactly what my real belief said I deserved. This is the part the law of attraction teachers don't always say plainly. You're not attracting what you say you want, you're attracting what you actually believe you're worthy of. I could say I wanted a different life all day long. I could write affirmations, I could go to meetings, but underneath all of that, my beliefs hadn't changed. I still believed I was who I'd always been, a guy who messed up, a guy who couldn't get it together, a guy who'd end up back in the cell. And life kept matching that belief every single time. Half aligned beliefs build a half aligned life. The two longest sober runs I ever had were the two times I was actually practicing the principles. 5 years first time, 4 years the second time. Both of those runs ended the exact same way. I stopped doing what got me there. I went after instant gratifications. The beliefs I hadn't fully cleared came back up, and life matched them again. That pattern broke when I stopped negotiating. When I finally said, I'm going to do everything they tell me, even the parts I don't want to do. That's when the work started actually working, not before. If you're sitting in meetings right now and you're white knuckling it, listen to me. You're not failing, you're just in the gap. Same gap I was in for years. And the way out of that gap is not more knowledge, it's not more meetings, it's doing the one thing you keep skipping. Maybe the amends you keep putting off, the step you keep glossing over, the phone call you keep avoiding, the sponsor you keep half listening to. That's where willingness lives. I'll tell you what changed for me. The day I stopped trying to control which parts I was going to do, that's when my life started to change. The day I said, I'll do all of it, even the embarrassing parts, even the painful parts, even the parts that don't make sense yet. That's when my beliefs started to actually shift. That's when the law of attraction started working in the direction I wanted instead of the direction I'd always been pointed. Because here's the truth: nobody puts on a poster. You can think your way into a new life. You can't. You have to act your way into it. And Then the thinking catches up. That's what the steps do. That's what daily practice does. That's what service does. You don't believe you're worth a new life until you start living like you are. That's just the truth. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I figured it all out. I haven't. I still mess up. I still have hard days, but I don't use no matter what. I stay connected to source through morning routine, through prayer, through being of service to people who are still struggling. And the days that are hard now, they're not because life's against me, they're because I created them. Some pattern I didn't catch in time, some thought I let run too long, some old belief that snuck back in. And the second I see it, I do the opposite. That's recovery. That's the law of attraction in real time. Same truth, different language. If you're knowing recovery but not living it, there's a way out of that gap. It starts with one thing you've been avoiding. Pick it up today. Don't wait. And remember, always remember, if a guy like me could get and stay sober one day at a time, there's no doubt in my mind that anyone watching this can do the same. My name's Alan. This is 5 Minutes Recovery. And always remember, recovery is just beginning. I'm glad you're on the journey. See ya.